Hey guys, welcome to Sketch Today. I'm Spencer and we're going to make this really quick. Today we're going to be sketching a tea kettle. Just a reminder, hit subscribe, turn on those alerts. Come find me on Instagram and be sure to visit my website and sign up for the newsletter. All those links and information will be below. So we're going to be using marker paper and pencil today to sketch a tea kettle. And we're going to use the method that I've used before, form, divide, beautify. But if you have a tablet or crayons or anything you have, we're just gonna have fun. So grab whatever materials you have and we're gonna get right to it. This will be a two-part video. One will focus on the drawing and the other will focus on the finishing and presentation. So with that, let's get started. So I've got my Copic marker pad here. Again, you can find these materials in the description on the videos, the description section. So if you want, you can feel free to check that out. So to start, I'm kind of imagining something like this. Perhaps a nice electric tea kettle. Okay, something like this, where we've got our spout and perhaps our handle, something like so. Okay, now this is of course the front view, and this could actually be a part of the presentation as well. But sketching this up kind of helps me establish kind of the shape and what's going to happen. Little quick pencil here, and we already have the shape of this tea kettle kind of reading. So as far as a cross section goes, if I were to cut through this, I'm imagining that it is conical, meaning that the cross section would be a circle. So with pencils, what I like to do, just a pro tip, is I like to sharpen a bunch. This is for your benefit as well as mine. This way I don't have to keep sharpening and making noise in the background. So that's one of the benefits of using pencils that are sharpened already. So here they are, all sharpened. I've got a bunch of them. But to start, we're gonna work light till we get it right. And because we're in doubt, we're going to rough it out. Okay, this tracing paper, or this marker paper rather, is really nice because it's translucent. You can see through it, so we can always do an overlay. Now, I want to show a little bit of form and context, or sorry, form and function in this sketch. So let's start with just a nice central line like so, and another like so. Okay, and this will make sense. So I'm going to start on the bottom here and sketching a nice ellipse. And another ellipse like so. Okay, so we've got these two ellipses sketched in really lightly. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. So hopefully you guys can see that okay. If not, we'll make this a little brighter. And then the other sketch for the actual kettle, I'm going to sketch at an angle because I want to be able to show a little bit of the charging element on this tea kettle, okay, and perhaps the cable as it runs off the page. Now, if this were coming off at an angle, right, we just need to pick a direction for the spout. So sketching in that line, connecting with some triangular elements like so. Thinking of our transition, we now have essentially our tea kettle sketch, just roughed out. Nice and light. Okay, so form, divide, beautify, light till you get it right. Real quick, nice and easy. There we go. Okay, so as I'm doing this, now I can start to think of, okay, what elements do I want to make sure are communicated? It might be thickness on this tea kettle, it might be transitions, and so forth. With pencil, I try to, and it's very subtle, I try to actually rotate my pencil. Oh, there we go. So if I sketch, I'll actually twist the pencil in my hand like so and rotate after every few strokes. And the reason for that is I'm essentially self-sharpening the pencil as I go. Okay, so there's a little tip for you. If you are using pencil, just rotate that pencil as you draw, and that's going to help with keeping that tip sharp, because as nice as pencil is, it does tend to get dull very quickly, and then your lines will end up being somewhat muddy. So I am using a Prismacolor very thin pencil. If you're international, you may not be able to get these, but if you can get them, they are pretty great. So check those out. And let's sketch in a part line here for a base. Not too worried about getting those lines perfect right now. Okay, because with contrast and with the marker that we'll apply, it'll help clean things up quite a bit. Okay, so let's finish our little charging element here. Sketch that in like so. And again, switch to a nice new pencil, and we can now work on finishing our outline. Sometimes the tip will break. That's okay. Just anticipate working with your mistake, so to speak, if that happens. Or just a quick sharpen will kind of fix that up. So, plus, as a last resort, we always have Photoshop. So as I'm working, I'm trying to just be quick and deliberate with my lines, decisive in the execution, and trying not to hesitate. Okay, so nice even pressure for this outline, for example, like so, but also being deliberate where I can be, because that's going to help your sketch feel even more confident as you go. So if you pay close attention, again, you will see that I rotate the pencil as I go. Okay, well, I feel like on this tea kettle, we probably need some way to see the level of liquid. So I'm going to borrow the central axis line that we had and use that to then create a tiny window in the side of my kettle. And we'll do the markings after. That's probably something I'll do after we apply our marker here. But I was just fortunate enough to be able to use that line. It was kind of in a fortuitous place, if you will. And okay, so we'll do some finishing touches here for the sketch portion of this video. Let's get our cable, maybe a connect for the cable, something to transition into this base, like so. Beefing up these lines as we go. Now, I usually say draw with your shoulder where possible, and that is true. But whenever I'm in a tight space, sometimes I like to just use my wrist for these curves, go a little slower, that kind of thing. So you can break the rules as needed to create or come up with your final sketch or the best lines that you can get. You'll also notice that I am rotating my paper quite a bit, and that's because for me, I kind of sketch a nice line at a certain angle. So instead of me having to contort my body and change the way I draw, rotate the paper to the way you like, and then you can just draw that line. Okay, so that concludes the first video of this two-part series, Drawing a Tea Kettle, and we use the technique light till you get it right. So remember that, light till you get it right. You can do this with ballpoint pens, markers, pencils, and even some pens if you're careful. But the idea is to work in a gentle way so that as you figure out your idea, you're not wholly committing to it and those mistakes that might happen. Well, thanks for joining us on Sketch a Day for this part 1 of my 2-part video. And as always, subscribe, turn on those alerts, come say hi on Instagram, and be sure to check out that newsletter. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time right here on Sketch a Day.